It's funny. When you really think about it, absorbent pads, they're in, like everything. Diapers, pads, even some medical supplies. I have to admit, I never really stopped to think about the people who actually make those.
Yeah, it's easy to kind of gloss over those everyday things, right? Like you said, they're everywhere, but you don't really think about the how, just the what.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into the world of the absorbent pad machine operator. Got some pretty interesting roll catcher guides here. Ready to dig in.
Sounds good. It's one of those roles that I think people misunderstand a bit.
You think so?
I do, yeah. It seems simple on the surface, but these guides really highlight the technical side, the precision needed. It's all about quality control, making sure these materials that we depend on meet some seriously high standards.
So it's more than just, what, pushing buttons.
Right. It's about really understanding the why and how these products work, like how a diaper actually absorbs. It all comes down to the science of those cellulose fibers.
Okay, so break that down for us a little. What makes those fibers so special?
So it's all about structure, really. Imagine like a microscopic network, tiny tubes and spaces within each fiber.
Okay.
And those tiny spaces, that's the magic. They trap and hold liquids incredibly well. It's natural absorbency, perfect for hygienic products.
Like a teeny tiny sponge.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where our absorbent pad machine operator comes in, right? They're basically making sure that transformation from raw fiber to usable material happens flawlessly, monitoring the machines, troubleshooting any hiccups, ensuring those absorbent properties are on point every single time.
Sounds like some serious problem solving is involved.
Definitely. Think about it. If the fibers aren't bonding correctly, you get an inconsistent product. The operator needs to figure out why, and that could be anything. Is the machine calibrated right? Are the raw materials a little different this batch? Real detective work, using both technical know-how and a keen eye.
I bet that's really appealing to someone who likes a challenge, being in control of the process.
Totally. And these RoleCatcher guides are great at highlighting that. They make it clear this isn't a dead-end job. You can start entry level, sure, but then work your way up, leading teams, coming up with new ways to make things more efficient, even collaborating with the research and development folks.
Okay, so lots of potential for growth there. But let's zoom in a little on the day-to-day. What's it actually like working as an absorbent pad machine operator?
Well, I think one of the things that these RoleCatcher guides really emphasize is the teamwork element. It's not like you're just off doing your own thing all day.
Yeah, I see a section here about typical interactions. What kind of collaboration are we talking about?
It's a lot, honestly. Operators work hand in hand with quality control inspectors, got to make sure those high standards we talked about are being met. Then there's the maintenance folks, keeping those machines humming. And of course, you've got your supervisors, team leads, that whole communication channel.
Makes sense. Sounds like being a good communicator is pretty key in this role.
You got it. And the more you move up, the more important it gets. Leading teams, training new operators, working across departments. It all comes down to communicating clearly and effectively no matter what.
They also mentioned the potential for work-related injuries, which, makes sense in any manufacturing setting, right?
Right. And I think that's why the guides emphasize safety protocols so much in this field. It's not just about the machines running smoothly, but the people, too. That whole idea of being really safety conscious, following procedures to the letter, being aware of what's going on around you, those are good skills no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. Attention to detail, minimizing risks. Whether it's heavy machinery or like sensitive data, it all applies.
Exactly. And even some of those other core things that pop up in these guides, troubleshooting, problem solving when things get hairy, keeping that quality control top notch, those skills, you can take those anywhere.
So even if you're not planning to become an absorbent pad machine operator yourself, you can still learn a thing or two from these resources.
100%. And speaking of the bigger picture here, I thought it was interesting how these sources connected this specific role to the whole hygienic product industry.
Now there's an industry you don't think about every day, but it's got to be huge.
Oh, it is. And guess what? It's only getting bigger. Aging populations, rising standards of hygiene around the world, especially in developing countries. It all adds up to a demand for these products, which means more jobs, more opportunities for skilled machine operators.
So a good career path for someone looking for some stability.
Seems like it. And not just stability, but potential. Remember we were talking about technology? The guides mention automation, how that's changing the game in manufacturing, even in the absorbent pad world.
So robots aren't coming for their jobs just yet?
Haha, not quite. But I do think it's interesting how tech is pushing the skills needed. Might be less about just running the machine, more about the tech behind it. Even like coding, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, got to stay ahead of the curve, right?
Yeah.
Seems like that's a big takeaway from all this.
Huge. It's not like the old days, learn one thing, you're set for life. You got to be learning all the time, adapting to new tech, new ways of doing things.
So we've been looking at it from the job seeker's perspective, mostly, thanks to those RoleCatcher guides. But what about the flip side? If you're the employer, what are you looking for in an absorbent pad machine operator? What makes someone stand out?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, you've got the
Yeah.
technical skills, sure, but honestly, I think it goes beyond that. Someone who's actually interested in the how, the why of the whole manufacturing process, not just punching a clock, but really wanting to understand, to learn. That's huge.
Someone who sees the science behind it all, not
Yeah.
just the machine in front of them.
Exactly. And of course, that adaptability we were just talking about, someone who's eager to grow, learn new tech as it comes out, all that. And can't forget this strong work ethic, attention to detail, really caring about quality. That's what it all comes down to at the end of the day.
It's those less concrete things, huh? Curiosity, the drive to learn, doing things the right way. Those can really make a difference for an employer.
I think so. Because you're not just hiring someone to run a machine, right?
Yeah.
You want someone who's an asset to the team, to the whole company, and yeah, even to the people using those products every day.
I couldn't have said it better myself. There you have it. Who knew? Absorbent Pad Machine Operators had such a fascinating story. It's incredible what you can learn just by taking a closer look. And if this has you curious about other hidden gem careers out there, well, you know where to go. RoleCatcher has a ton of resources just waiting to be explored. Until next time, happy diving.